I know Debashis was on earlier. So thanks everyone for this is the final day of our business forum. Welcome. Interesting set of panelists we've got to talk about business cases and technology choices for the digital society. We have 1.5 hours and we've allocated about 20 minutes per speaker or panelist. There's been a request to include Q&A, and it's up to you to make the most of your 20 minutes, whether you want to add questions and answers at the tail end or not, that's up to you. But our first speaker is George Lamb from Syniverse, and he's going to be talking about paying for next major international roaming evolution. I understand 5G's got a different challenges with introducing roaming. So over to you, George.
Thank you, Phil. Right. Okay, so I assume everybody can see my screen, right? So just a quick intro. Okay, thank you. So just what I'm going to do is I'm going to rush it through in about 15 minutes. And if anybody has any questions to ask, I will leave a few minutes of question time. So a very brief introductions of my company, just in case any of the audience here not aware. Syniverse, we are the major company based out of Florida in the States to help operators to enable international roaming in various kind of technology. But of course, as of today, it's primarily GSM. But we used to do CDMA in the early days as well. And as for myself, I'm the director of portfolio marketing based out of the company's Hong Kong office. So my main responsibilities are the product marketing of the new emerging products. And of course, 5G is a very important suite of our company's future product offering. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the next 50 minutes to take you guys through 5G roaming. So 5G, just a quick recap. What's the main difference and enhancement of 5G comparing to the legacy 3G and 4G are mainly three specific features. One is what we call the enhanced mobile broadband. So that means it's a very high upload and download data speed up to a theoretical maximum of 10 Gbps speed. Of course, that would depend on a number of things, the available spectrum and the configurations of the MIMO antenna. The other features is the massive machine type, because one of the key design philosophy of 5G is to support IoT devices. And normally in a small area, there are lots of them. So the 5G standard is designed to support up to 1 million devices within a 1 kilometer radius. Typical applications are, for example, auto drive and telemetry devices. The other feature is the ultra reliable and low latency communications. That is for some time critical applications like online surgery to provide up to a 1 millisecond latency performance requirement. So these three features of 5G put together, of course, depending on the wish of the operators, they can sort of adjust their resources to adopt their network, 5G network, to support a multiple of type of applications. For example, you may have augmented reality, AR type of applications that would require somewhere between a fast download speed, eMBB, and a low latency requirements, and somewhere in between. And that is where network slicing can come in, which is also one of the key features of 5G. It is the ability for operators to offer a particular network slice specific for a particular applications. of course, the business model also come with it. So they may charge a high tariff for a critical applications and maybe a lower tariff for non-critical applications like email or internet browsing. And 5G is a very much different comparing to the legacy structures of the 3G and 4G network. And primarily, it's all the signaling are different now this time. It's using something like called the HTTP2. And it also emphasizes very heavily on the security protections of the network. So specifically for roaming, because for roaming, a operator, they need to talk to their roaming partners outside their network domain. So, and all these communications of the traffic, the user payload, and all the signaling are encrypted. And also the network slicing, as I said earlier, is the ability where operators can offer a different quality of service and to charge differently when they do that. And of course, the network architecture is NFV and SDN, so that means is a service-based architecture and not a function-based architecture. That means in the previously, a piece of hardware is dedicated for being a HSS functionality, but in 5G, it's all different. It's based on VM, but being a standardized VM type of architecture. So the status of the 5G employment, and in the world nowadays, what we have seen, of course, China is by far leading the world in 5G subscription. And actually the latest is now they are almost close to 200 million 5G users in China. Of course, Korea is another country that leading the deployment, and US is also picking up. And for Asia, our part of the world, it is available in certain countries, like for example, Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, Australia. But the scale is not really up there yet. So what we have seen so far, most of the 5G deployment, well, actually is all commercially on the 5G non-standalone mode, which I will explain later on. And for the standalone mode, we are beginning to see operators are in the stage of implementations. Some operators in Asia have already implemented, for example, in China, but it's not a nationwide deployment. It is a more like a commercial trial that is available in certain cities or province. So definitely the SA mode is coming along. And I think just like any new technology, one of the key, I wouldn't say obstacle, but consideration is the frequency supported by the device. And for 5G, there are a number of the frequency available as specified by ITU. But at the moment in the market, not all the devices available are not universal. They can only support a certain frequency band. But of course, the most popular at the moment is being the 3.5, the N78. But as time goes by, we will expect more operators, more handset will be available to support all the available frequency. And probably except the N1 and N3, which is the 26 and 28 gigahertz band, which will be problematic. So for 5G roaming, roaming is just like any technology in the past, 2G, 3G, or 4G. It's an essential part of any operator service. In the early days, it's a huge revenue earner for both operators, particularly for operators in our part of the world, which is quite heavily rely on the roaming revenue. And the other major part is a very important service, particularly for enterprise customers, where you have to offer them a good roaming service. So 5G roaming definitely will come. I would expect it will not be too far away. As soon as operators have launched their SA mode network, this will come naturally. And for 5G roaming, there are basically two modes at the moment. As we said, the non-standalone mode, so that means it's a 5G radio, but still using a 4G core network. So you cannot enjoy the features like the EMB, like the massive machine type and the ultra low latency, but you can enjoy the EMBB, the high speed from the radio. So this is what everybody is doing now, like the non-standalone mode. In standalone mode, now this is a proper 5G network where the radio is 5G and the core network 5GC is also a 5G network. So this is what we call the standalone mode. And of course, for network slicing, to enable that in the roaming environment, the IPX that interconnect between the visited and the home operators need to be upgraded to support that as well. And for that, it will be part of the requirement. So I will just briefly explain the major requirement for 5G roaming. Now, the clearing, the way of exchanging call records between the operators. Previously, in the last 25 years, operator has been using a standard called TAP, transfer accounting procedures. However, for 5G, GSMA has mandated a new standard will be used, which is called the Billing and Charging Evolutions, the BCE. And that need to be in place for operators if they want to do 5G roaming. So for the various 5G roaming solutions, now for the NSA mode, which is using a 5G radio and a 4G core network, and basically for operators, there's not much, or actually it's nothing they need to do because the traditional diameter signaling is still being used. So for operators who are doing NSA mode roaming, there should be very little that needs to be done between the operators. However, the big change will come when operators start doing the SA mode roaming. SA mode roaming require a complete new signaling standard called the HTTP2, and also the handling of the security functions to handle the HTTP2, and that's a very important element called the Security Edge Protection Proxy (SEPP) that need to be used to handle the security policy between the operators. And so, and of course, the clearing part, the BCE, which I just talked about, also need to be addressed and handled. For 5G network slicing, now this is the part that the IPX as of today, because when you are offering network slicing, then you are offering a very different, many different quality of service to your roaming partners, and then you can charge them differently. However, to make sure all this traffic are being handled according to the required QoS, that means is that path must be end-to-end. And so on the IPX piece, that means is we have to make sure all the different slides are will be able to meet the QoS expectation. So this is also a part of the GSM standard that is currently being looked at by the GSMA. And of course, Syniverse, as a one of the key member of the IPX working group, we are following the standardization very closely, and to make sure we are compliant when the time comes when our customers will require network slicing for roaming. So for the standalone mode, just very quickly go through. So the Syniverse solutions, and this is not lab, this is we are already in productions to get ourselves ready before our customers does. Is the 5G signaling controller where we are able to handle the new HTTP2 handling. and the SEPP to address the security policy between the different operators. What we call in Syniverse, the Mobile Policy Control Center, where we are helping operators to deploy kind of like a PCRF in 4G capabilities, so they can offer different roaming pack and policy control of their outbound customers. And last and not least is the Universal Commerce, which is our name for the billing and charging evolutions, to make sure our customers, operators, they can handle the exchange of billing records using the latest GSMA standard. So I'm sorry because of the very limited time involved, and actually this is a huge topic. So this is my introductions at a very high level. So if any colleagues here would like to hear more or have a detailed discussions, I will be more than happy. So please approach me or my colleague Alex and Alvin, who is handling the Oceania customers for a more detailed discussions. So I know I only got about 2 minutes left. Just quickly ask if there are any questions from anybody.
Yeah, just George, a quick one for myself. When do you expect to see the proliferation of standalone networks and then roaming starting to become?
Okay, yeah, Phil, that is a very good question. That's a very, very good question. Now, the SA mode roaming is coming. Top of my head, the Korean, the Japanese, Telstra, the 3 Chinese operators, Singapore, Thailand, they are already in the stage of launching their SA mode network. Some of them they have launched, but for example, in Telstra, they have launched in New South Wales only, nowhere else. But all the others, and in China, is only in 3 or 4 provinces. But the plan for most of them is by end of the year. Of course, not to mention Hong Kong operators, my home turf. I would expect by end of this year, there will be at least 5 to 10 fully commercial SA mode network. And for SA mode roaming, now, I've been doing roaming for the last 20 years. And in fact, it would not be so quickly adopted. So I would expect when operators to launch their SA mode network, roaming will come, but not immediately. I would expect probably a 6 months to a 1 year lead time for operators start deploying it. So I would say SA mode network, end of 21, 5G SA roaming, I think by end of 22, there should be a significant size of these activities.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Any other questions for George? He's got a few minutes.
Okay, if no, I would thank you again for the time. And again, please approach me if you have any more questions or would like a further discussions.
Thank you, George.
Okay, thank you. So let me stop sharing.
So our next panelist is Peter from Mesa, Australia, and this topic is the importance of antenna selection and wireless network optimization. So the virtual podium is yours, Peter.
Okay, so thank you everybody for giving us the opportunity to talk here. I suppose most people are familiar with who Mesa are, but we are a distributor based in Australia for radio access network equipment, mostly passive devices, antennas, cables, that sort of thing. But today my presentation is going to be about an important but often overlooked component in the wireless network, which is the antenna. My background is antenna engineering. Currently I'm the RF consultant for Mesa here in Sydney, but specialising in antennas. For antenna engineers like myself, the overlooking of the antenna is a bit disappointing, so I'd like to take the opportunity to show how a well-selected antenna can help to make a difference. So antenna selection can be a confusing business. There are many variables depending on the application, the coverage and performance requirements, capital and operating budgets. For wireless communications networks used for mobility and fixed broadband, conventional wisdom dictates that phased array omnidirectional and sector or panel antennas are the best fit to optimize these parameters. However, within this class of antennas, there are performance differentiators that are important to take note of. And there are also new types of antennas that can be considered for niche applications that can make a large difference to overall network performance. And that translates ultimately to customer retention and return on investment. Antennas are crucial to wireless network performance because they are the vital air interface that focuses all of the cost of getting all that data to the customer to the right area. You wouldn't want a wire that delivers data to a customer in a wired network to split off and distribute itself to other users who don't want that data. So why waste money on an antenna that delivers signal to unwanted areas? That's just wasteful of capital and leads to network inefficiencies and unhappy customers. Usually, antennas are only a small part of the cost of RAN infrastructure, so it's best to use that cost wisely so the antenna doesn't bring down the performance of the system. Now, here's an analogy. Why would you buy an expensive Ferrari and then put retread tyres on it? It just makes no sense. To demonstrate what I'm talking about, in this presentation, I'll present a few cases where Mesa has worked with customers on special applications to propose antennas optimised for the application, rather than go for conventional antennas or let a turnkey equipment vendor dictate the antenna to be used. So we'll start the presentation with a simple use case, that of a mine site coverage. We'll get on to more complicated scenarios later in the presentation. But here, Mesa worked with a mining contractor to optimise coverage for its mine pits. In this application, network planners coming from mobility network planning backgrounds typically select antennas for mine sites that they've used previously for conventional mobile networks. These antennas have high peak gains, narrow vertical beam widths, optimised for flat or moderately contoured terrain, and relatively longer range. The mining contractor couldn't find an antenna on the market with a wider vertical beam width to match the coverage requirement in a mining pit, as well as have 4x4 MIMO capability and multi-band operation for the low and high frequency bands required. In this case, it was 700 megahertz and 2100 megahertz for their private LTE network. So Mesa and Alpha Wireless designed and supplied a customized antenna that much better suited the application, directing signal throughout the mining pit rather than providing limited coverage that would be given by the high gain antenna. So here I've summarised the benefits of using this customised and optimised antenna for the mine site instead of trying to make do with using an off-the-shelf antenna. A better solution for the application was found from the perspective of performance, operating and capital costs, and installation. So the second case I'll cover is the use of an optimised antenna for a fixed wireless broadband access. So as an introduction, here's some interesting statistics on fixed wireless access network growth from the 2020 Ericsson Fixed Wireless Access Handbook. So notably, there are 60% of households globally that have a fixed broadband connection, either wired or wireless, and this figure's growing. That's 1.2 billion households, but it still leaves a lot unconnected. Obviously, broadband connections, both wired and wireless, are growing globally, but it's becoming harder to access those who aren't yet connected. Wireless access may be the best alternative to connect many of these remaining customers due to the comparative speed and ease of installation versus laying cable or fibre. For developing nations without extensive fibre deployment and maybe difficult terrain to cover, fixed wireless would be an attractive option, providing widespread broadband access to the population. However, when planning a fixed wireless network, it's important to understand the difference in service quality expected compared to a mobile broadband service. This comes from how the service is marketed and what it's competing against. In a mobile network, people pay for mobility. They can take their phone and use it anywhere their service provider provides coverage. The subscription basis is data volume per month, and if the customer is able to achieve this, they are generally happy and tolerant of some service variance over the coverage area, unless, of course, that's right where they live or right where they work. However, for a fixed wireless service, the expectation is that the network performance will be competitive with a fixed fibre service. The subscription basis is network data throughput, and it's easy for a customer to do a speed check and say they aren't getting what they paid for. Video streaming and gaming are important applications for a fixed broadband service, and tolerance is low for buffering and waiting when using these apps. Therefore, quality of service is paramount for every customer in a fixed wireless service area, and this impacts how the network needs to be designed. Here I'm going to get a bit technical to explain the use case, but hopefully it won't be too scary. The critical data throughput is determined by two factors: the available frequency bandwidth and the signal to noise ratio. Expensive bandwidth needs to be used optimally. Given a certain amount of spectrum to use, the operator must break this up so that enough is provided to each user for their needs. This can be done by the well-known technique of sector splitting, the basis of cellular networks. If you split the coverage area into more sectors and reuse the spectrum at closer intervals, then more capacity can be provided. The signal to noise power ratio is the other crucial factor. The signal power is, as the name suggests, the power in the signal you want to receive. The noise is a combination of thermal noise plus interference from unwanted signals sharing the same frequency. Obviously, we want to minimize the total noise and interference as much as possible. The signal power received depends on transmitted power and transmit and receive antenna gains. Assuming the transmitter power is limited by economics and interference and safety concerns, that leaves the antenna gain, or how much the antenna can concentrate the power into a given area. You also need an efficient antenna that doesn't absorb power in internal losses. Basically, you don't want your antenna warming the backsides of the birds sitting on it rather than efficiently sending that signal power out where it's wanted. So the noise plus interference is something an antenna can make a huge difference with. A good quality antenna will suppress interference from unwanted signal directions by the quality of its radiation pattern, in particular how good its side lobes are. This is commonly referred to in the industry as beam efficiency, how much signal power is directed into desired areas compared to how much is wasted into undesired areas. So then, how do we take all of this into account when designing a fixed wireless network? What sort of antenna is selected depends on the density of users, basically how many users there are per square kilometre, and how much data throughput is required per user. A basic starting point for low user density fixed wireless access is a 3-sector system. Now, what you're looking at here on this slide are the radiation patterns from the 3 antennas in a 3-sector system overlaid in the same picture. That's the red, the green and the blue traces. Imagining that you're looking down from on top of the antenna tower with the antennas located in the middle of the plot. Each coloured trace is a representation of the strength of the antenna beam in a particular direction. So the green antenna has a strong signal pointing north, for instance, but not much going south. This shows a standard 3-sector plan where each antenna covers 1/3 of the coverage area and their radiation patterns overlap at sector boundaries. This is the sort of sector plan you can have for a low density situation, but once capacity increases, this type of network gets stressed pretty quickly and you need to try something more complicated. To provide more bandwidth to each user, you can split the 3 sectors into 6 with a narrower beamwidth antenna. Here, capacity is nearly doubled, but not quite, because there's more opportunity for interference at sector boundaries, because there are more boundaries. This can be managed by reusing frequency channels every second sector, e.g. the blue, the green, and the cyan on the same channels, and the red, the purple, and the pink on other channels. With this type of network plan, the antenna chosen must have low side lobes, so interference to other sectors is minimised. So we at Mesa have seen cases where a well-designed antenna can almost double throughput for some fixed wireless customers compared to using a similar antenna type with higher side lobes. Reducing the number of users per sector is an important industry metric for fixed wireless applications, as these networks have to increasingly compete with 5G mobile networks or even fibre deployments. The current industry benchmarks have targets of less than 20 users per sector for acceptable throughput of up to 50 megabits per second or more. For maximum user density and throughput situations, you can split the sectors even further with high quality multi-beam antennas, but I won't go into that in this particular use case. So this slide shows an actual use case where an operator switched from a 3-sector to a 6-sector system for capacity upgrade with disastrous results because of the type of antenna selected. The left-hand picture shows the pre-split case and the right-hand picture shows the post-split case. The red dots are where minimum customer KPIs in terms of data throughput are not met. In this case, the operator used a beamforming antenna supplied by the equipment vendor that could provide the 2 sectors from one antenna. This is called a soft split in this particular case. This is clever technology, but not necessarily the best outcome for a fixed wireless network. And this can help to explain why. In forming the 2 beams, the soft split antenna produces high side lobes in the adjacent sector. These are difficult to control when forming 2 separate beams from the same antenna. These side lobes create interference. A better plan in this case is to use 2 separate antennas, red and blue in the bottom picture, with optimized side lobes to reduce interference. Here we've shown the radiation patterns of the Alpha Wireless AW3711 antenna, which is customized for fixed wireless applications. The soft split versus the AW3711 antenna trial results display a significant improvement in average signal to noise ratio for the Alpha Wireless antenna over the soft split antenna. This shows the obvious benefit in using the Alpha antenna. There are many more users experiencing signal to noise ratio above the required threshold than when the soft split antenna supplied by the equipment vendor was used. This demonstrates the advantage of using an antenna optimized for the application rather than simply using what's available from the equipment vendor or what might work out okay for a different application. This is just one of around 4 trials that the AW3711 has been used where it has shown superior performance for a fixed wireless application over more standard antennas, including here in Australia in the NBN. This optimized performance is currently available for the 3.5 gigahertz band and also the 2.5 gigahertz band, either in single band antenna or combining both of the bands in a dual band antenna. And Alpha is also working on a same type of antenna that works for the 3.7 to 4.2 gigahertz band for newer C-band applications. The last case I'll present is rural coverage. Now, for ultimate coverage in remote areas, the supercell concept using high-gain multi-beam lens antennas is a potential option. The range from one site can be up to 50 kilometres, providing 100 kilometres diameter site in optimum terrain. So this idea has been promoted by Facebook as a technology to provide coverage to remote areas where other technologies aren't economically feasible due to the number of macro base station sites that have to be deployed. There are two requirements that need to be met for this concept to work. Firstly, you have to have height difference. Sorry about that. You have to have a height difference of typically 200 metres or higher between the supercell antenna and the distributed users, with high gain antennas to provide long range coverage. Such a height difference can be provided, for instance, by utilising towers generally used for broadcast applications, and these may already be available. Secondly, you need to use a high sector count with heavy frequency reuse. To meet these objectives, a high gain multi-beam matching Lunenburg lens antenna is an ideal solution, as shown in this picture. The lens antennas, in case you're wondering, are the large white spheres. Regarding the Lunenburg lens antennas, firstly, some explanation is required. We're all familiar with a parabolic dish antenna. It collects and focuses a signal to a feed point using reflection off the dish. The bigger the dish, the more gain and collecting power it has. Think of a radio telescope where very high gain is required to see far out into space. A lens is similar, but acts like the lens in your eyeball or a camera. Your eyeball lens is sized for collecting visible light and focusing onto the back of your retina, and a lens antenna focuses microwave radiation in the same way. Through the lens, you can focus incoming signal onto a small feed antenna on the far side. With a lens, you can arrange several feeds around its circumference and create multiple identical beams from one antenna. Each beam is exactly the same as the others, and side lobes are well controlled. Each beam also has its own dedicated radio and bandwidth, so this solution provides the ultimate in capacity. Large diameter lenses up to 1.8 metres can provide high gain, greater than 28 dBi, which aids long-range coverage. In contrast to urban and suburban applications where densification and small cell size is important to increase capacity per square kilometre, for supercell it's important to limit the number of sites and provide as much coverage from one location as possible. This is to minimise costs of construction, radio access equipment and backhaul. To provide enough capacity over such a large area, high sector count and frequency reuse is utilised. Why isn't that working? It's got it. Sorry about that. Facebook modelled several different terrains across the USA for the supercell. Of these terrains, the most optimum conditions were given by flat cropland in Quad City, Illinois, and the modelled propagation is shown here. At a received power threshold of minus 110 dBm, the supercell site shown on the left provides 25 times greater coverage area than a conventional mobile network site, as shown on the same map on the right. Now, Facebook conducted a trial, an actual physical trial, of the supercell concept in Texas over desert terrain to verify the coverage predictions. The trial was conducted at LTE band 41, 2500 megahertz, with a height difference of around 150 to 335 metres to the surrounding terrain. A drive test was conducted during which voice and video chat was used to verify use of common applications such as video streaming and voice calls. The trial results showed that the supercell could provide adequate performance up to 40 kilometres for video and voice calls. Downlink speed was 6 megs per second at the median, and uplink speed was 1 meg per second at the median. And the intersector handover was seamless. While not blazing fast speeds for users currently without any internet connection, this would be a blessing. Of course, the economics of supercell have to stack up as well as the performance. Otherwise, there's no point going down this path. This slide shows how Facebook has done an economic analysis for greenfield areas in Nigeria, currently without any mobile access, and found that Supercell comes out ahead in most cases. Out of the 82 Supercell sites studied, the economics were ahead of using conventional mobile network technology in 76 of them. So, from a performance and economic viewpoint, Supercell is a serious option for remote greenfield areas without any existing mobile infrastructure. This is another example of how thinking outside the box and selecting an antenna for its unique properties can result in improved technical and economic outcomes. So, in summary, I hope I've convinced you that antennas are a very important part of your wireless network and should be selected carefully using trusted partners for advice. Mesa distributes some of the highest performing antennas available, so please reach out to us for your antenna needs. Also, I've provided a link here for those interested to read further about the Supercell concept. So thanks for listening. I hope you found this talk interesting, and if anyone has any questions, if I've got any time left, feel free to fire away.
Peter, this
Yes.
is George Lam here. Thank you for the presentation, very interesting. It reminds the days I started my career as an RF engineer. So I'm sort of looking at the Supercell lens antenna. So you said the trial done in Texas. It was a 30 kilometers range using a Samsung S7 device. So because it's presumably that was a standard Samsung S7, because when you are at such a huge distance, the downlink is probably okay if you pump up the ERP. But for the uplink from a Cat 1 normal handset device, so that still works fine, or that was a special Samsung S7 device?
That's a very good question. I don't know the precise answer to that, but I'm assuming from the trial results, the study that I read, it was a standard Samsung Galaxy S7, and not some special rigged up system to use. So yeah, I think it was standard equipment that they used. Yeah, I mean, if you need to demonstrate the technology, you can't really, it's unfair to go out there with equipment that's not what a normal user is going to use. So I think I'm pretty sure they used it.
But I'm just curious. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
That's a maximum 0.6 watt device, uplink of 30 kilometers. That's quite an achievement. That's very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the matching lens antennas have got, for these big ones anyway, these 1.8 meter diameter lenses, you can get 12 beams out of 120 degree sector at the higher band that they used here. And each of those beams is 28 dBi in gain. So yeah, that's a 10 dB improvement over a normal antenna. So yeah, that certainly helps.
Okay. Thanks anyway, Peter. I would definitely look into your website and
sure.
Look at this lens antenna. Very interesting. All right. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
We can probably move on to the next presenter, who's Jackie Kalari from REDCOM. Over to you, Jackie.
Okay. Can everyone see this okay and hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to start by saying thank you very much for having REDCOM here. We are very proud of being part of PITA since it began, and being part of the PITA community and the customers that we have in the Pacific. We're very proud of all of that for all of these years, and so thank you for having us here. what I would like to talk about is interoperable communications for disaster scenarios. And this has been talked about a little bit already. But what I noticed as I was listening to the talks over the last 2 days is how everybody is dealing with COVID, how everybody is having issues, successes, pros and cons of the whole thing. It's been quite a big part of our topic. So I wanted to integrate that into my talk as well. Wanted to let you know that even though COVID has been very disastrous in some parts of our country, REDCOM is not only surviving, but we are thriving. And during this time, we have actually come out with a few new products with you guys in mind for these disaster scenarios. And so I wanted you to know that we're here for you, we're not going anywhere, and we're here to help you. So the first question I want to ask is this: what is your worst nightmare? This is what I want you to think about as we're going through the slides. And what if there's a storm? What if your satellite is down or your cable's cut? I know these have happened to all of you. This is not new to you, and it's not if, but when. So I would like to offer some of REDCOM's ideas and products to help you through some of these situations. So it's really important to have a plan. I was listening to the NOC operators last night, and it was very, very clear that the reason that they're successful is they have a plan. They don't assume the disaster is not going to happen. They just are ready for it when it comes. So the plan is important. And I think we at REDCOM think communications is first. In order to get around the problem and have a quick resolution, we first have to have communications. So all the agencies, domestic, international, and all the technologies can talk to each other. So let's first take a few minutes about looking and finding a solution. I think you're going to want something that's designed to immediately respond to the incident, something that's lightweight and you can move around. A mobile solution, maybe something that you can carry in a backpack and take it to wherever the problem is, or something that's designed to be in an in-vehicle. So it can be designed to fit in that vehicle that you have ready for emergency situations. You want something that you can take with you, and probably, this is our idea that we think is great, a solution that you can use in your permanent location. So when the disaster's over, you can integrate it and save on the costs that you put into the emergency equipment. So what do you want? I would say one of the biggest things is interoperable communications between your agencies. I know that you've all probably had situations, I know we have here, where the different agencies that come together, like the police, the fire, they don't have the same technology. Their technology is not interoperable, so they can't really work with each other as efficiently as they'd like. So those things are important to keep in mind. And then easy setup. You want something that you can put in place quickly, intuitive user interface, so you don't have to think during an emergency. It's just easy plug and play. And you want it to work when it's set up and ready to go. Now, security is a big thing these days too. We've been talking about all the internet usage that everybody has during COVID and how much we're using the internet to communicate and work. And that is bringing out the criminals to try to get into our networks and disrupt what we're trying to accomplish. So security is a big thing. And I believe that support afterwards is something that's important too. Support to get the equipment in place, and support after you want to put it into your permanent network. Secure end devices is probably a big piece that you want to consider too, because what are those folks that are out there dealing with the emergency going to have in their hand? Mostly, I know from experience with all of you, that those are mobile devices, and you want them to be secure so that the people are comfortable talking about the situation. So let's think a minute about the agencies. Excuse me. Fire, you want to make sure that something that you have in place for emergencies will work with the fire department, your police, military if they're involved. You want to get the emergency supplies to where they need to be. And radios, one of the things we're going to talk about at the end here is a new product that we have that that interoperates with radios. It allows everybody to talk, even when the other infrastructure is down. And then it's important to keep the existing infrastructure in place whenever it's possible. So then you need to think, I think the next step is thinking about your multiple technologies. What do you have to interwork with so that those agencies can talk to each other, especially when you're getting agencies from different countries. A lot of people are on the internet, but there's still people on TDM circuits if they're still in place during the disaster. A lot of folks have LTE devices. And then of course there's radio. That's the bottom line backup, at least in our country. When everything else fails, the radios are still working. So like I mentioned before, the solution needs to have easy setup. Can the solution come to you pre-programmed with your dialing plan with the features that you might need? An intuitive user interface so that you can customize. We pre-program a set of features into your system and then you customize it for the particular situation you need. And cables. Cables are important. How many times have you gotten to an emergency site and you had to put your own cables together? That happens all the time. Excuse me. Secure conferencing is something that REDCOM has been working on and perfecting lately for a lot of our customers. It is something, if you have the Sigma product or the HDX or Slice products, it's already built into the product. And what we offer in our conferencing is the ability to add on people. You can start a conference and add people into the conference as needed. And in our Sigma conference app, we have easy movement between conferences. So like drag and drop. You don't want to be thinking about a lot of clicking and typing when you're in an emergency. You want the people that need to talk to each other to be able to talk to each other securely. So we have these drag and drop functions. We have mute functions. If there's a lot of noise in the background or someone's being louder than other folks, you can mute that person temporarily and you can create sub-conferences. If certain people need to talk about an emergency and not everybody in the conference needs to hear it, you can have a sub-conference or a sidebar where you can drag and drop those conferences, those conference folks to another separate conference. In our conference system, we also allow radios in the conference with the PTT and the PTS functions. And support. You want somebody that has years of experience with you, someone that knows your network, your issues, your policies, your politics, can help you through everything and not get in your way. And then I mentioned secure end devices, what you'd be carrying in your hand. We have at REDCOM end device applications that run on Android or PCs. They have the PTT function built in so that you can communicate with the radios, and we support TLS and SRTP for security. So you can be assured that people aren't listening in to your conversation unless you want them to. So with all that in mind and what you need to resolve your emergency situation, let's find a solution provider. One of the things I first wanted to talk about at REDCOM is this new product that I told you we've been working on, and it's going to be announced in, Terry Masangelo, the Director of Sales, is on with me, and he can help answer some of these questions about dates and things, but I believe it's going to be announced and released next month, so you're getting a sneak preview of this. This little box is an extended radio interoperability box. And the 400 is because there's 4 radios in each box. Excuse me. It's built on Sigma. The software that's in the box is Sigma. So it already comes with voice, video, and chat. It comes up and powers up in less than a minute. And it's very resilient to shutdowns. When you power down Sigma and power it back up, it comes back up in minutes. So there's no long wait time for your equipment. It works with your existing technical infrastructure, so you don't have to pull anything out of your network. And then built in are those 4 radio ports that connect up to 4 donor radios. And the size of this unit is such that you can fit 2 of them side by side into a 19-inch rack. So you can get 8 radios in one 19-inch rack. It is compatible with virtually all of our public safety and tactical radios. And it has a lot of settings. The box has a lot of settings in it because we know that radios are all a little finicky. They're all a little different. And so it's very important that you have administrative features in the box you can make changes to so that it'll work with your radio. The box comes pre-programmed with features and a dialing plan, and it is radio make, model, and waveform agnostic. That's part of what all the settings are involved. And it does come with a set of, I believe it's 2 cables, one for tactical and one for public safety, but one end is unterminated so that you can set it up and connect it to whatever you need at the time. Now we realize that one size of product doesn't fit every situation and every need that is around. So we've also got this concept that we've put together called CrucialConnect. And what it is and involves is bringing communications together into a small package so that you can, as we talked about in the beginning, take these packages around to wherever you need them. They're mobile, they're lightweight, they can be taken around and interface with a REDCOM system, or it can be bundled with SATCOM and LTE. It provides critical communications for those comm centers and the emergency centers that are handling the problem and saving lives. It works with multiple agencies and, excuse me, multiple technology, as you can see in the picture here. So I'm going to go back to this slide for just a moment. That is my presentation and our ideas about what you might need for your emergency situations and what we have thought about as far as what we can provide to you to help you through those situations, because that's what we want to do. We've been around with you for 40 years and we want to continue to be helpful. And so I guess that is where I would leave it. And Terry's joined me now for any questions that you might have. And I cannot stop sharing my screen, Phil. Fred had to do it before when we tested.
That's fine. I could probably vouch for REDCOM's longevity with PITA members, and I've had the unfortunate experience of having to use REDCOM solutions and products in disaster scenarios. So they have a long history on being there when you need them, especially in the Pacific. Are there any questions for REDCOM? If not, we can move on to our next presenter, Dibash from GlobalTrek Info, and he's on cost-effective internet access management. Over to you, Dibash.
Okay, thank you for confirmation. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Debashish, and I look after the business development and pre-sales activity on behalf of GlobalTrek Info Singapore Pte Limited, which is a 100% foreign subsidiary company of its principal company named GlobalTrek Info Private Limited. So it's a great honor to be here with you on this virtual platform, and I also would like to thank the entire team of PITA for managing this event. So today I'm going to share with you about our cost-effective solution. Is the complete billing and bandwidth management solution with 24 online standalone, which is a single device with multi-dimensional solution in it. So let's get started with the presentation. So first thing is that GlobalTrek is a foreign subsidiary company, and 24 online is a product of GlobalTrek. So 24 online is a one of the leading and bandwidth management solution in the market, and there are a lot of segments where we can provide a complete solution. in hospitality, ISP, telco, Wi-Fi hotspot, airport, shopping mall, public Wi-Fi. So in all those places, we can provide our solution with billing and bandwidth management. So these are the verticals. You can see there are ISP telcos, hospitals, Wi-Fi segments, educational, enterprise, Wi-Fi hotspot, public Wi-Fi, hotels. So in all those places, we are able to provide a Wi-Fi hotspot, public Wi-Fi based solution. It's a complete standalone based solution, and it's a compact one. So you don't need to take different hardware for different services, because we have all those features in it, and you can use our hardware for, as per your requirement. So you can see there are two kind of device. So left one is typically designed for the ISP and telcos domain, and the right one is designed for the hospitality domain. So based on your requirement, you can use it for your network. Even you can also suggest to other person to use for their ISP or enterprise or hospitality segment also. So these are the verticals where actually we are offering our solution in ISP, hospitality, enterprise, cafe, restaurant, university, healthcare, airport, shopping mall. And these are the basic features. You can see that is load balancing, multiple gateway features, reporting, user management, access management, coupon, voucher. So these are the generic features, but apart from this, there are lots of add-on features also there. So you can easily enable it in a system, and you can use it for your network. And these are the domain like ISP, enterprise, shopping mall, university, healthcare, hotspot, hotels, airport. So we have already covered most of the place with 24 online, and we are also able to provide our solution in other region where actually need internet access gateway. Let's say, for example, in a small or medium office, if they want to use billing and bandwidth management solution, office Wi-Fi management solution, guest Wi-Fi management solution. So in that case also, our device also able to provide this kind of services. So in a word, basically across the globe, we are offering our services based on the ISP and NOC setup, public Wi-Fi hotspot SMP support, internet access management, smart city projects, and we are offering complete AAA OSS BSS access gateway solution, HTTP caching and peering, IP log management, BSS for customer relationship management. Even we have more than 50 expertise in network segment who are actually able to provide all these support and services like DNS, NMS, mails, FTP, SAN server installation and configuration also. So this one is a 7-layer hierarchy model of 24 online. So basically, you can see all those things are there in a system, and it's a one single system. You don't need to take multiple hardware for different services. You will get all these features like CRM, customer relationship management, which is a popular features and attractive one for every enterprise or ISP or telcos network. BIS, MIS analytics for reporting, report management. Like there are different kind of report. If you would like to go with the system activity log, you will get it. Also, there are IP log management. I mean, you can test out all the reports, what your user are surfing and they are viewing. Everything you can get it through this kind of report like BIS, MIS analytics. Next one is that billing. So billing is the inbuilt features of 24 online. We have both prepaid and postpaid billing capabilities. So based on your requirement, you can use, or also you can use both facility in your system or network. It also has franchisee management that will enhance your network. Even you can extend to the geographical locations. It's not binded in your place also. You can spread it across the globe through franchisee management features. And also there are subscriber management that will manage entire life cycle management of a user, my account, user-based report. Bandwidth management, these functions will help you to create a different kind of sharing type of bandwidth, committed type of bandwidth. And the last one is that access management and inbuilt radius server AAA functionality. So basically, in our system, it supports both AAA, like authentication, authorization, and accounting. It has also the functionality for NAS management, network access server. So you can use both from the same server, and there are many other functions like authorization based on the MAC address, triple PoE, OTP, and social-based media logging. So if you'd like to provide guest Wi-Fi or public Wi-Fi or advertised system, that also possible. It's a complete hierarchy structure of 24 online. So left side, you can see that our solution is completely compatible to work any of this WAD or WAD network also. I mean, you can use over VSAT, WAD network with GPON or OLT. And the middle one is the offering. So you can see that BSS, AAA, and access gateway. And there are lots of functions are there in a prepaid and postpaid billing, policy and package enforcement, subscriber manage, report engine, diagnostic tool, franchisee management, voucher coupon. Even we also provide high availability support. So if system administrator want to take a want to keep a backup server for their network for the redundancy, so they can easily configure HA between two servers, and they can get maximum uptime. Also, there are sales CRM and load balancing features, travel ticketing, inventory to keep a record of all the devices which are currently running in your network, like switch, routers, access point, everything. You can keep a track in your system. You can maintain it. You can identify it where actually the device is. I mean the location. With it, we also provide a mobile application features, and it's a universal application. That means you can use the same application for not only for the user, you can also use for the administrator, you can use for the your field engineer. Also, there are planning features for postpaid and customer wallet features. AAA that will give you authentication and central radius-based support with access control list. And the last one is that access gateway solution. So nowadays, you know, there are a lot of devices in the market. In some devices, renowned devices like Cisco, Juniper, and other BRAS also. But the thing is that in 24 online, it's a very cost-effective solution, and the budget is very low. But we are offering all the features like BSS also and access gateway solution also. Whereas if you would like to take another device from the market, then you need to pay more than that. Like in our system, in you can see there have access gateway, multiple gateway load balancing, DNS, DSCP, captive portal, bandwidth management, policy enforcement, US firewall. So you will get all those things along with BSS from the same device. And the right one is a third-party integration. So in our system, it's already integrated with most of the renowned payment gateway service, SMS gateway service, access controller like Cambium, Ruckus, Mycotics, and all the devices are already integrated with 24 online. If you would like to see about the BDAS and PNG device, it has already integrated with Juniper, with Huawei, with Mycotic, and it's already integrated with Active Directory, ticketing, and PMS. Even our system is very comfortable, and it also provide a API functionality, so that if you'd like to integrate with your existing solution, so there is the possibility. I mean, we provide all these API details. Based on that, you can easily design your own system. Whereas 24 Online will work as a backend system. It's a user management. So it will give you complete life cycle management, account, and the basic features like user creation, user activation, suspend, archive users. And there are lots of other functions like reporting, user functions. From the reporting, you can get all the reporting, like how much data they have used, their utilization, their log report. Even if you'd like to download it, you can download it. Even you can store it to the external FTP. For the efficient management, we also offer advanced renewal features, top-up and voucher management, walk-in coupon facility. They also have a access control right. Even we also provide a single account, multiple user facility. So these are the functions are there in the system to manage your user from the central administrator portal, and it's a very user friendly. Even if you'd like to provide to other franchises, that also possible to manage for the franchisee side also. So coupon is a very interesting thing nowadays, and most of the system administrator wants to provide a coupon or voucher based plan for the network to provide internet access for the guest. Even they can also earn some revenue from the coupon management. So through coupon management, you can create a different kind of coupon. You can sell it to the client, or if you would like to advertise your network, there is a you can also do this kind of activities through coupon management. It's a central authentication. Like if you are running with other devices in your network or various devices, and you would like to use a central radius server. So in that case, our solution also feasible to work with the other third-party devices, whereas 24 Online will perform authentication, authorization, and account facility to provide central radius-based management with OTP and social-based media login. Like your guest will be logging through OTP or social-based media login or MAC address, IP address. So it's based on you. I mean, how we will configure it, and your system work accordingly. It's a customizable internet plan. So there are different kind of policy and packaging sections in 24 Online. So there are time-based policy, day-based policy, quota-based policy. So like if you'd like to create a 1 day or a 1 month policy, you can create. Also there will be a provision for 2 MB or 10 MB lease line or normal users. So it's a standalone device that will give you both. I mean, lease line you can create, or you can provide lease line user facility as well as normal user facility, where you can define the contention ratio. Like if you'd like to provide 10 Mbps, you can easily set the contention ratio. So system will divide or distribute 10 Mbps for 10 users or 10 persons. Also, there are some VIP plan creation options, advanced renewal, carry forward, and top-up facility. So bandwidth management. So it's a inbuilt features. There have both. I mean, sharing type of bandwidth and committed type also. So you can provide lease line or normal sharing bandwidth. You can create 2 MB, 10 MB, 100 MB. So based on your requirement, you can create it and you can provide it to your end users. Billing is also a inbuilt features. We provide both prepaid and postpaid billing. They also have a peak and off-peak billing facility, pulse-based rating, and you can see there are taxation, ancillary, and discount facility, currency converter. So system will automatically calculate the currency, and based on that, it will provide the invoice. Not even your end user also the invoice copy over mail, and also they can able to see from their captive portal or user my account portal. It says CRM management. So customer relationship management is very important for each and every telecom sector or ISP segment. So through it, you can manage your sales network. You can manage your field engineer from lead to cash generation. The complete flow will be driven by 24 online, and you can also manage your sales network through it. It's a travel ticketing support. So if you'd like to provide travel ticketing, I mean TMS facility for your user, like if your end user is getting some issue with internet, like slow internet speed or internet is not working, so your end user will able to raise a complaint, and you can assign someone from the portal to check it, to resolve it. So there is the provision for allocation, escalation, close ticket. So all those things you can do. Even you can generate ticket through email, calls, and other option also there. It's a lead to cash generation. So it's a complete flow. I mean, how your network will operate, your network will perform. So everything will be guided by 24 online. Even you can, based on your network structure, you can also customize this flow in a system. It's the inventory management. So through inventory management, you can keep a record of all the device which is currently running in your network, like switch, router, access point, end device, nodes, everything. Even there are lots of other options like purchase order return, receipt and receipt return, product transfer, your stock tracking, everything you can get it from inventory management. It's a data analytics and report dashboard. So it's a one and only dashboard facility from where you can check, you can manage, you can monitor your entire network at a glance. There also have a some widget facility from where you can get your sales revenue, day wise, monthly wise, weekly wise revenue, current utilization of the user or a particular. You can also test out your servers. I mean, which server is running or not, their states on or off, everything you can check it from the single dashboard facility. It's a dining features which is typically for the postpaid users. So if I know there are, I mean, you are from most of the renowned ISP and telco segments, so obviously you are maintaining prepaid and postpaid. So if you'd like to provide a dining features for your postpaid users, then you can obviously use 24 online for your network. This one is a mobile application field for field force app and user applications. So through these applications, you can easily manage your network. You don't need to access your central server. Through mobile application, the system administrator will able to check the system activity. Your end user will able to raise a complaint. They can check their usage. They can pay through online. They can purchase packages. Also, there are field force apps. So field force apps actually can create, I mean, can check multiple taxes or cases to check the issue to resolve it. This one is a captive portal. So captive portal is a very interesting for each and every network. So if you'd like to provide login page or landing page or captive portal, then from the same system you can also provide these things with other functionality like social based media login, SMS, OTP based login, self registration, promotion and branding facility. This one is a video advertisement. So from this system, you can also advertise. Like if you'd like to advertise a video. So whenever your client will try to log in, they will able to see this video. After that, they will get the internet access. So this kind of flow, you can easily design, you can easily configure in 24 online, and you can use it. You can advertise your company company name and logo over the network. It's a BIS MIS analytics. So this portion is typically for the log. So from here you can get different kind of logs like URL log, active log, complete NATed log. I mean source IP, source port, destination IP, destination port, everything. I mean you have a complete track of each of this log. I mean what your users are surfing, everything you can get it, and you can store it for the DOT inspection purpose if required. If there is some illegal unwanted access, so you can easily test out to identify the exact user. This one is another product that is for hospitality internet access. So mostly in a hotel, most of the hotel they are using PMS, that is for property management system, and our device is completely integrated with most of the renowned PMS like Opera, Fidelio, WinHMS. So in hotel industry or chain of hotel or group of hotel also, you can provide our solution, and it's the compact one and plug and play facility with PMS integrated. So that you just need to place our device. After that, it will automatically work in a network. So this one is a Wi-Fi solution and single chain and hotels. So if there is a single hotel or multi-property based hotel, you can easily place single device or multiple device to manage all the property from the central location. This one is a single and multi-location hotspot or single and multi-location airport. That means our device also provide multi-tenancy features. Like if you would like to create a different kind of tenant through the same system, then you can easily do that. I mean, you can create multiple franchisee, you can create multiple zone operator, retailer, reseller. So through the same system, you can create it and you can distribute it for different network, like for shopping mall, for ISP networks, for airport, hotspot, and hotel industry also. This one is a multi-tenant features that I have already explained. So if you would like to provide multi-tenant features for your ISP network, that also possible. So what you need to do, you just need to deploy your host one server, and from where you can manage your all the locations. Or if you have multiple locations, then you need to place separate hardware for different other locations. So this one is a third-party integration policy. So we have already integrated with SMS gateway, payment gateway, PMS, PDAS, access gateway, Wi-Fi access point. So our device is fully compatible to work with other third-party software. So these are the device model. You can see there are a lot of devices. There are a lot of devices from SMS or HI device, and every device has its own capabilities based on the concurrent users and bandwidth throughput. So if you'd like to, if you are running with like 2 gig or 4 gig or 5 gig bandwidth throughput with 2000 or 3000 concurrent users, so you can easily select one of this hardware model and you can use it for your network. It's a deployment scenario. So if you'd like to deploy our solution in your network, or if you'd like to connect 2 areas, then you can easily connect both areas through fiber, and after that you can deploy one single hardware for a normal setup or two hardware for redundancy setup. It's a multi-mode deployment. So here you can see if you'd like to use our solution as a central radius, in that case you can also use with other third-party PDAS or 24 online NAS device also to manage your entire network. So this one is our product roadmap. So there are a lot of things are coming in our solution. Even we always try to release a version update after 3 months, and we provide to our client with MC support. We have more than 20 years of experience. Even we have connected 5.5 billion subscribers across the globe, and we have more than 1,000 clients. We provide complete 24/7 support over chat support, mail support. Even from the PCL side, we are also available in Viber, WhatsApp, and Skype support also. So these are the client actually using our solution. There is a Airtel. So the entire Africa Airtel, Bharti Airtel is using our solution. Even we have deployed more than 20 opcodes in Kenya, Uganda, Zambia, Madagascar, Seychelles, Congo, DRC. So we have already deployed our solution for enterprise network. Next one is the Tata Communication Guinea. We have already completed a project in Guinea for ISP setup. Even you can see that Tuvalu Telecom, they are already using our solution with 24 online. Also, they have Pacific. So Pacific Broadband already using our solution to connect different multiple geographical locations with voucher management. Also, they have Lightspeed, Orange, Mauritius Telecom, CTP, Multitel, Unisat, Hyperia, IX Telecom, OSB, Satconet, Spectranet. So all the ISP and telcos, they are already using our solution. There are a lot of hotels actually using from Pacific Island. There are Lamana group of hotels. There are heritage hotels from Solomon Island, and there are a lot of other hotels from Papua New Guinea and Philippines also. There are, you can see, Ramada, Holiday Inn, Hotel, Premier, Novotel, Radisson, Country Hotel, Swiss Hotel, Royal Arcade. So all are using 24 online for hospitality management. This one is the public Wi-Fi and hotspot segment. So mostly we have captured all the African airports through 24 online, like Ghana Airport, Rwanda Airport, Egyptian Airport Corporation. Even you can see Emirates flight catering, they are already using 24 online. So if we talk about healthcare or education or enterprise segment, so there are a lot of names. We can say that Saudi German Hospital, Dubai, they are already using 24 online. BITS Pilani, Lancaster University, Ghana, Kuwait University. Even we have already deployed our solution in Australia, Singapore, Malaysia. I mean, in all the Pacific, Asia Pacific region, we have deployed our solution. We have many more clients, even in Australia also, and we are moving forward to European country also. So this is all about it. So guys, I know that it's a very short time to explain all those things properly. So I will be glad if you more interested more to know more about our product later. So then we can take another call with you to share all this information with live demonstration with our live servers and others accesses. So thank you so much for listening me and giving this time to explain about our solution. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Debashish. And that probably hits the 1.5 hours on the spot, so the timing's been perfect. All the collateral from the presenters will be available on the PITA website or the conference website. So if there's any further follow-ups any of the viewers want, they can contact the presenters directly or look at the collateral on the website. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, panelists. There's a break now. Fred, any announcements?
Yeah, thank you. We have 90 minutes break from now till 2 o'clock before the next session. And unlike the other 2 days, we don't have any session this time. So I would like to invite everyone to go visit the exhibition, check on the booths that you haven't visited, and a lot of informations are there, as well as you can have a chat with people that are manning the virtual booth. Also, you can take a visit to the chat room and join all the others who are having a lively chat in the chat room, and even organize a private chat with your business partner or customer. Until then, we see you at 2 o'clock. Thanks.
And we'll see participants in an hour or so. Cheers.
Yes, thanks everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Fred.